Melbourne's jagged skyline provides a beautiful background for the final round of the CIK Stars of Karting, presented by Castrol Edge. Welcome to the coverage, everyone. Today we're looking at the heavy hitters of world karting. It's the Pro Gearbox category. And the series is still well and truly alive, with a number of different drivers in contention for the championship and that $10,000 payday. Karting has always been about preparing young drivers for a career in open wheelers, and the Pro Gearbox category takes that to a whole new level. The first thing that grabs you is the fact that they have a 6-speed gearbox, which adds that element of shifting. But that's not the only parallel between racing here and in the big leagues. The Pro Gearbox class is formed so the sport would have a new pinnacle, a headline act for the local karting scene. The motors are open for development, and we see a number of different engine and chassis suppliers. The karts are faster, stiffer, and more physically demanding. Weighing in at 180 kilos, they are quite heavy for karts, with the single-cylinder 125cc engines pump out an impressive 45 plus horsepower to make up for it. Revving to 14,000 RPM, they can arrive at 100 kilometres per hour in around 4 seconds, and the speed tops out at a CIK 160 k's per hour. Using Dunlop's soft compound means they are on faster rubber too, but they must learn to conserve their tyres. Unlike other karts, they have fully adjustable front and rear brakes. And as the Pro Gearbox name would suggest, they have a 6-speed sequential box activated by a lever near the wheel. The drivers must briefly lift off the throttle when shifting. The karts also have a hand-operated clutch that is used for the F1-style grid starts, which brings us back to the similarities to open-wheel circuit racing once more. The one thing about this class that really preps drivers for a potential F1 career is the driving style. Now, usually in karts, it's all about momentum, so trail braking into the corner, keeping your mid-corner speed up and accelerating out of that corner, making sure that the revs never drop down low. But with these karts, you've got a lot more power plus the gearbox, so you can afford to drive it a lot differently. And it's actually a driving style not too dissimilar to what we'd see Mark Webber using in his Red Bull car. The key to this one is you approach high speed. Obviously, you're going to brake at the very last second using those front and rear brakes, bang down a couple of gears, and you want to get your cornering done as quickly as possible, so a really sharp angle on the steering wheel, and you want to straighten the kart up as quickly as you can so you can feed that power on and then short shift your way up the gears to limit the amount that those wheels are spinning at the back. Completely different driving style to what we're used to seeing in karts, but very close to what we see in open wheelers. So a lot of the F1 boys, like Michael Schumacher, keep their skills sharp by driving these karts. That's also a great way of prepping young drivers for that big shot at F1.
Kicking off at South Australia's Bolivar Raceway, a huge field of Pro Gearbox competitors lined up in their KZ2 specification machinery. At the front of the pack, it was Patrici course driver Kyle Ensby, reigning champion Tyler Greenbury and Jason Pringle who led the way for the majority of the weekend before Ensby took the win. The top kart driver continued his form into round 2 of the championship at Newcastle. However, it was Chris Hayes who got the jump off the start line in the final and was never headed for his maiden victory in the series. Greenbury stuck trouble while Wall charged from the back of the field to finish second behind Hayes. Heading into his home round at Ipswich, Hayes was the favourite, but it was John Grother, Lee Mitchner and Matthew Wall who showed the way in the early races. In the end, it was Tyler Greenbury who took the win, his first aboard a CRG kart. After 2 disappointing rounds, Ensby had lost the points lead to Hayes. However, the Sunshine Coast driver bounced back to claim the round win in round 4 at Eastern Creek, ahead of the consistent Mitchner and Greenbury. This leads us to the final round at Port Melbourne, where Ensby holds a slender 13-point lead over Hayes in the standings. Sitting in 3rd place is CRG driver Jason Pringle, followed by Tyler Greenbury and local driver Lee Mitchner in 5th place. Let's have a chat to the contenders in the Pro Gearbox ranks as they battle for the John Pizarro Trophy.
I want to go out there and win every race and walk away with it, but that's a big goal, and I don't know if we can make it. But like obviously Jason Pringle's in 3rd, he's close to me, home track. It's been fast all day today, but then again we've got Chris Hayes, it's always fast, and you don't really know which one to worry about or worry about it. I just think we might not worry about any of them and just go out there and do our job. I still remember when I was 10 years old and I used to go to the track and watch CIK, and really want to do it. But now to be in that position and leading a championship, it's great. Like if you could get your name on that trophy, it'd be a dream come true.
I had a bit of bad luck for the last 2 years with finals. I think I only finished about one final out of the two. So heat races I'm being pretty good with. Just got to finish pretty much up the front and be top 5 for that final. Maybe if Kyle has a bit of a bad weekend this weekend, DNF, or if I just try and finish in front of him, definitely going to give it all I got. And I know the go-kart's got it in it and the engine, so hopefully I can put it all together and try and win.
All the guys that you're racing against are the best from whatever region they come from, and it's so close. Like you can see, like I can't even tell you who's won each of the finals this year because it's been a complete lottery. It's kind of almost getting similar to the F1 this year, which is, it's great.
Kyle and Jason Pringle and also Chris Hayes are all very fast, so they've been going really good this year. I've had been a little bit slower, so I've got to have a really good weekend to be able to win the championship, so I've practically got to win everything, and Kyle's either got to have a bad weekend or Jace as well.
Yeah, being a home track, it might be a bit of an advantage, but I definitely have a lot of work to do to catch up in the series, in the points. But look, I'm just really looking for a top 3 finish. That would be great for me.
The Pro Gearbox drivers, they're assembling themselves on the grid for the first final here at the last round for 2012 in the CIK Stars of Karting Series, presented by Castrol Edge. Chris Hayes, Matthew Wall, Hayden Patrizzi and the like preparing themselves on this Port Melbourne circuit, 960 metres, 28 to 30 gear shifts a lap depending on the gearing setup. That calculates to one shift around about 1.8 seconds. After the qualifying races, it's the Vodafone-backed energy kart driver of Chris Hayes who will start from pole position for final number 1. Matthew Wall will be on his outside, followed by Tyler Greenbury and championship leader Kyle Ensby occupying the second row. Third row will consist of Jason Pringle and Jordan Ford, a couple of local drivers, as we get set for the opening final here in the Pro Gearbox KZ2 ranks. And joining me here in commentary is Jack Perkins.
Yeah, great to see a standing start with these gearbox karts. Everyone looked like they got a reasonable start there. No crashes into the first corner, so we're off and racing.
Off and racing in the dogleg part of the circuit as Matthew Wall leads the way. Hayes there in second, Kyle Ensby there in the Patrizzi course, top kart in third, and in the back of the field, we've got a big rollover of Ricky Capo, it looks like. He's gone up and over, exiting the Castrol Edge turn, and his fellow competitors race to his aid to drag the gearbox kart off him. A very heavy kart there for Capo. He's only a little fella, and we hope that he's okay. As we now go on board with Hayden Patrizzi, who is just behind that incident, and he manages to avoid the whole thing, has a look behind him, and he somehow avoided it. But on the screen now, Ricky Capo, he appears to be okay amazingly, and he's up and walking, and we'll get the restart after the break.